some of those clashed in a not so good way, but sometimes it can just cross the musicality and be more of a utility to be tense, just to be tense. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. A Credit to His Gender is from the band's second studio album, A Comprehensive Guide to Modern Rebellion. That's a really cool album title, but it was released in 1996 on Fat Records, and today will be my first time hearing the band, as our Patreon community voted this track in second place over there last month, and I want to shout out our patron, Sean Patterson, for sending this track in via request. And before we listen, I noticed in the album credits that this song has guest vocals from Cinderblock, who I had never heard before until we did a punk rock Christmas songs episode also on Patreon, and she does guest vocals on No Use for a Name's track, or their cover of Fairy Tale of New York. So that was a fun twist to that track. I'm curious to see what it adds to this one. Without further ado, here is A Credit to His Gender from Good Riddance. Damn, that's pummeling. Okay, this is another track that's not perfectly in 440, not quite on standard tuning. And that doesn't just mean they're in a different tuning, it means they're actually off of 440 hertz. This happened in that Pantera episode a while back. Thankfully, I saw on the Wikipedia page for that album that they were tuned in 425, so that's 15 cents lower than your typical standard 440. This is either higher or lower. It's kind of somewhere in between D and E flat. So it makes it kind of tough to play along, but this is punk rock and we'll get through it, right? So it just caught me off guard. Okay. Right there. Gotta bend it up. Yeah.
How are you feeling? I love someone like you.
Great energy.
Does your repression only serve and bitter that you abuse and objectify all the emotions you defeat? You got the will right at your feet, 'cause you make you silence all the critics of your misogynistic lies. You wake up from your reveries, you better realize that you're a model of virility, a specimen divine.
That's a really cool usage of a major 5 chord. This will be my 1000th time talking about major 5s and why they're effective to resolve back to the 1 or just tie up a chord progression, but it's not used that way here. Normally a major 5 in a minor key, so we're in D minor. I'm still going to call it D minor, even though it's kind of like between D and E flat, kind of living between these two notes. But in D minor, the 5 chord is naturally minor. It's A minor. But typically, again, as I always say, artists will make that 5 major. It's a leading tone to go back to the 1. It has this. They're using that major 5 here, but not in that same way. It doesn't go back to the 1. It goes up to the flat major 6, which is just the 6th chord in D minor. So you put those two major chords next to each other. It's just not your typical usage of a major 5, because normally it would go. You do the major 5 to get back to the 1 nicely, but it doesn't do that here. It goes. I've not heard one of those chords used like that very often, if ever, so adds a cool color. Just wasn't what my ear was expecting when I heard it. Cool. Subtle, but worth pointing out. Yeah, let me show you. That's pretty cool. There it is again. Huh. You guys know I'm a sucker for major 5s, of course, but crashes on 2. I love the way they, you're bobbing your head and it just kind of makes you wait for that downbeat. It's an effective rhythmic thing that doesn't take any real songwriting knowledge to use. You just put the crash on 2 instead of 1. It's a great tactic just to switch up the rhythmic suspense a bit. I mean, you're pummeling along and you don't really expect it, so it's a cool effect maybe to bring in chorus 2, which is kind of what they're doing here. But it's effective, right? 2, 3.
That attitude, you're hopeless case, and now you're too late to rectify. That attitude, you're hopeless case, and now you're too late.
Cinder block.
Never be that shallow. But you just take what you can get, then you throw the rest away. A notch on your belt, another score, another leg. Thinking silence all the critics of your misogynistic life. But when you wake up from your memories, you better realize you gotta rectify that attitude.
I also like that little guitar lead happening on that major 5 chord.
Then you throw the rest away. A notch on your belt, another score, another leg. Thinking silence all the critics of your misogynistic life. But when you wake up from your memories, you better realize you gotta rectify that attitude.
What's kind of cool is it goes down to, but if it hangs on that A major, we kind of have like a, is it making that augmented interval for a second there? All major thirds in a row? I mean, I think they might all happen at the same time, and those are just like happy accidents when one melody hangs over another chord. But I'm always listening for cool stuff like that, because they really are just kind of happy accidents. Nobody would do that intentionally. It doesn't even make any sense. Oh, I gotta find it again. Yeah, it's at the same time. Cool. Now that's cool. It's like they did the chorus, but cut each phrase in half, so it feels faster even though the tempo hasn't really changed. The chords aren't as long. I like that too. Either I never pressed record on my second camera or it cut off in the middle, so just had to stop there because I noticed it was off. Let's go back into that section. Cool little pivot here to something different, like a bridge section.
And now you're too late.
Cool. Sounds like there's some chorus on the bass tone, and you always wonder, like, was it there the whole time, or am I just hearing it now that it's a little bit more isolated? It's kind of the cool thing about bass effects. You can put them on there and use a lot more than you think you need, because when it's all factored into the equation of a full band mix, you really might not even hear it. It might sound like too much playing by yourself. So I always tell people, go heavy-handed on the distortion, the grit, the drive, the effects, the chorus, whatever you're using, because it has to cut through everything else to really, be audible, but it's still adding to the mix. Like if there's a chorus there, it's doing something in there. It just might not be super noticeable. And what's cool here is that we have kind of the opposite of what guitar and bass rolls would normally do. You have the guitar staying on the same note and the bass is moving under it, because normally I'm talking about a bass being on the same note, the guitar, oh God, I'm getting myself mixed up here. Let me go back and play it. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But it's creating those inversions, and some of the notes are clashing between the two. Either way, that's what's happening. Yeah, so you kind of have this and it's sort of outlining that same pre-chorus progression with the major 5 and everything I was talking about earlier. So it feels really natural, but cool way to bring the energy down to probably bring it back up here for the end.
You're taking, she's giving.
Oh.
You're losing, you think you're winning. Your time is running out now. Does it feel the same?
Epic! Wow.
Does it feel the same?
Okay, I know it's almost over, but what a cool way to bring back all the elements they've introduced. You only really heard those octave guitars kind of in that pre-chorus, so now it's just going in with the chorus and making those chords just bigger than they were before. You just feel that intensity change here on the last chorus. They added some vocal harmony, so classic way to just throw out a few ingredients throughout the song, and then bring them all together at the end for an epic chorus out. Well done. The bass is moving a bit more here too.
Does it feel the same? Does it feel the same?
Ooh, it's clashing. Interesting. Well done song. I like it. Kind of metally, good energy, good melody stuff. Kind of reminds me of like maybe Strung Out or some of those heavier leaning bands we've covered on the channel. I dig it. And I wasn't really paying attention to if Cinderblock came back in with those harmonies at the end. It was blended really well, so I'm not going to go back, but could have been the vocalists doubling themselves, or maybe she just got that one little part in the verse. Not a ton to talk about with the bass, but I did think the few times the bass stood out, it had some really bold things. Like at the end there, some of those clashed in a not so good way, but sometimes it can just cross the musicality and be more of a utility to be tense, just to be tense. So kind of sounded like a bit of that was going on, but it was also mirroring what happened earlier. The bass was changing under a static guitar part, so maybe it was that, and it just clashed more as more harmonies were happening. Interesting way to end it, but Good Riddance. Cool track. It's my first time hearing them. I'd love to circle back. Let me know if they have something with more prominent bass parts. I'd love to check those out too, but again, it's always great to review a well-written song. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. If you'd like to support the channel further, please come find us on Patreon. I do full albums each month over there. I also have bass lessons, music theory lessons, tons of stuff. And the best part is we have a great community, and I would love for you to come hang out with us. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.